Hello and welcome to the Walking Talking topic on graphs, question number 5 with me, Mr. Barton. Now this is our first proper cubic graph here. The graph of the equation y equals x cubed minus 6x squared minus x plus 30 is shown on the graph paper below. Use the graph, now that's very important, use the graph above to answer the following questions. If you don't use the graph, you might not get the mark because it's explicitly told you to use the graph. So firstly, solve where that equation equals 0. Now that looks a horrendous equation to solve, but if you use your graph and you switch your brain on, it's not too bad, because all this is saying is, where does this graph equal 0? Where does this graph equal 0? Now that is like saying, where does this graph, which is y equals x cubed minus x squared, blah, 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 cross the line y equals 0? Well, y equals 0 is just the x-axis. So it's another way of saying, where does that graph cross the x-axis? And if it said, where's that graph equal to 10? It'd be, where does that graph cross the line y equals 10, and so on. But this one is just, where does it cross the line y equals 0, otherwise known as the x-axis? Well, it crosses it there, it crosses it there, and it crosses it there. So what are my solutions? Well, that value there is x equals minus 2. That value there is x equals 3. And that value there is x equals 5. So there are 3 solutions. It's a cubic, so you can get up to 3 solutions to an equation there. Now what about this bit? This is a bit harder. By drawing a suitable straight line, now let's give you a clue there, solve the equation x cubed minus 6x squared minus x plus 30 equals minus 5x plus 10. Once again, that dodgy cubic there is our graph. So we've got y equals that. And here we've got something else. Y equals, not 0 this time, but y equals minus 5x plus 10. So if I can draw that line on there, y equals minus 5x plus 10, all this equation is saying is, where does my curve equal my straight line? Where does my curve cross my straight line? So let's get ourselves a table of values, a table of coordinates. So we've got to deal with y equals minus 5x plus 10. Well, let's pick some nice easy ones. When x is 0, when x is 0, y is minus 5 lots of 0, that's just 0, plus 10. That's just going to be 10. Let's pick ourselves another one. What about when x equals 2? So y equals minus 5 lots of 2. I think that's going to be minus 10. Plus 10. It's just going to be 0. Now I could gamble there. I've got 2 points, but there's no point. You might as well get yourself a few extra coordinates just to double check. What about when x equals 4? Y equals minus 5 lots of 4. Minus 5 times 4, that's minus 20. Add on 10. Minus 20 add on 10, that's going to be minus 10. Got myself 3 points now. I think that's going to be enough, to be honest with you. I think I'm going to gamble with that from there. So, when x equals 0, y equals 10. Now, if when I try and join these points up, they do not form a straight line, I know I've made a mistake. When x equals 2, y is 0. And when x equals 4, y is minus 10. Now I'm going to put my ruler on and see, do those points join to make a straight line? Yeah, that's looking good. So I'm fairly confident I've got that right. So I'm going to join that up. And finally, got to solve the equation. So where does that line cross my cubic? Well, it crosses it there. So all I've got to do is write down the coordinates of that point there. So let's have a look. We've got, that to me looks like, if that's minus 1, and I think it is about 2 squares across from there, and there are 5 squares between minus 1 and minus 2, so 2 squares across. Each one square is going to be 0.2, so I think that's going to be 0.4. So I'm going to go for x equals minus 1.4. That is 2 squares across on mine. Now, do I also need to give my y coordinate? Well, not really, because it's just asked me to solve this equation, and it's just involving x's. So all it's actually interested in is the x value there. If you put, I'll be honest with you, if you put the y value, you're probably not going to lose marks, but it has only asked for the x value. But the key to that is, if it asks you to solve a dodgy looking equation like this, and you've already got one side of it drawn, just draw the other side and look where those 2 sides intersect each other. Okay?